Hey everyone, I'm Superdazzer.
And I'm Pearly.
And welcome to another episode of SMITE Community Concepts.
For this concept, instead of Poseidon controlling the sea of water, he would control the sea of sand. He would look like a desert nomad, wearing cargo pants or shorts, a classic Bedouin headdress, and more of that kind of Bedouin clothing. This skin would also be set in the future, and Poseidon would have a robotic arm and an electric battery pack on his back. The battery pack would glow blue with electricity, and it would fill with the blue electric charge based on how full his passive meter is. The pack would be connected with crude copper wires to his makeshift looking staff, which would look like a transformer that has been ripped out of a power plant. His basic attack would be a wave of sand, and his voice would be gruff and dry. For his first ability, Tidal Surge, the wave would be made of sand, and there would be electricity arcs inside based on how full his passive is. At full passive, the sand would have shards of glass poking out of it, as if the electricity arcs heated up the sand. For Trident, his second ability, the head of his staff would glow, and the three prongs of the staff would start racing electricity between them. His basic attacks would go from one wave of sand to 3 waves of electricity. For Whirlpool, his third ability, the Whirlpool would be made of sand full of creepy little sand mites. And for his ultimate, Release the Kraken, Poseidon would release a giant sandworm instead of a kraken.
This concept would see Kumbhakarna dressed in a carnival outfit that looks way too small for him. Almost like he stole the outfit and decided that it would fit. The outfit would look like it does in the art, including a waistcoat, multicoloured trousers, and a top hat, and his weapon would be replaced by the hammer shown in the art. His voice would be the same as his default voice, because the idea is that he stole the outfit. For Throwback, his first ability, cartoon stars and effects would pop out when hitting an enemy. For his second ability, Groggy's Strike, cartoon stars and little birds would hover around the routed enemy. Mighty Yawn, his third ability, would be similar to default Kumbha, but the cartoon stars and little birds would appear over the enemy. And for his ultimate, Epic Uppercut, when Kumbha hits the enemy, fireworks would shoot up with the enemy, and a small squeaky toy noise would happen when the enemy lands.
For our final concept, Chiron's horse part would be a dark black horse with a fiery glow coming from his hooves, and his human part would wear old-fashioned, worn, tattered and dark clothing, as well as dark gloves. Chiron would not have a head, and his collar would go up to conceal his neck, and where his collar ends would be dark to conceal his neck further. His head would be down to his right, where his herbal medicine bag normally is, and it would be a dark grey colour, similar to ash from a fire. As his passive builds up, his head starts to glow fiery, and when he has all 3 passive stacks collected, his eyes and mouth would be wide open and would intensely glow with fire. When his passive is used on an ally, they would gain a fiery glow around them whilst being healed. Chiron's basic attacks would have a fiery red glow to them, and his voice would be a raspy and echoey demonic voice. His first ability, Training Exercise, would glow red, it would have fire coming off of it to replace the stars, and it would explode with an image of Chiron in this skin reared up holding his head to replace the normal image of Chiron holding his bow. For Masterful Shot, his second ability, Chiron would throw a fireball up in the air that targets the marked enemies. The mark on the enemies would be the same as default but in a fiery red colour. His third ability, Giddy Up, would be similar to default, but the blue trails behind him would be replaced with fiery red trails. And for his ultimate, Centaurus, Chiron would put his head on top of his neck and he would burst into flames for the duration of the ability. The arrows he fires would be large fireballs, and if he revives himself with this ability, flames would burst out of him.
And that's all for this episode. Thanks for watching.
The winner of last episode was Dragoon Nike by Mistress Waikiki. Click the card on screen to go watch that episode.
You can also vote for your favourite from this episode by clicking the little eye in the top right corner of the video.
Subscribe for more, like if you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Bye bye.